Welcome to the season 2 premiere of Before Brunch TV, where women are pouring into each other and then their glasses. I'm your host, Stephanie Walters, and number 1, I'm so excited to be at the house. And number 2, I'm happy to be here with you beautiful ladies on the first episode of this season. So thank you all for joining us. And then we have another special friend joining us virtually, Anita. Hey, Anita.
Hi.
So first of all, we've taken the precautions to be as socially distanced as possible. We all wore a mask when we got in here. So I just want to make that very clear. We're still taking this very serious. And I just want to start off with, like, how are you doing during this time?
So for me, it's been a lot. You know, it's been a lot. With my profession, I work where I knew I was going to have to continue to work. I'm a pharmacist by trade. So, I mean, I knew that in any effort or any situation where something like this happens, you're going to have to work, period. So that was okay. I knew that. But then the social stuff that's been going on, and then just everything, it's like you wake up every day and it's like, are you okay? And it's okay to feel like you're not okay. For me, I've been fine, thank God, and we've been okay, but it has been a lot. It has been.
And like to piggyback off Melissa, I also work in healthcare. I'm a labor delivery nurse. I'm also a women's health nurse practitioner, so I have to be there to support women because now you can't have your actual support in the rooms with you anymore. So it's a little different having to be in your professional mode, also being the support for the person when they're going through either trying to have their baby or trying to create their baby, and having to add that extra support that you don't have, but you want to give to somebody else in this time when scary things, scary thoughts are going through your mind. You're worried about if this person has it, and you have to worry about like giving them a shoulder to lean on in their time of need as well.
For me, I'm fine now, but as a college student, it took a lot of adjusting. You know, we got 2 weeks off for spring break. Then they emailed us the day it ended and was like, oh, just come get your stuff for another 2 weeks. And then we had 2 days to get our stuff and leave campus. So it was a bunch of us just trying to rush home. And it didn't seem real at first. It was almost like, oh, we're just going for spring break. And then it was quickly like, oh, wait, are we really at home now? Like, are we really finishing this semester online? So it definitely was a huge adjustment, but I'm all right now.
Anita?
Without a doubt, this has been the most stressful period of my career. And I think most journalists would say that, and it really doesn't matter what you've covered. It's really the convergence on so many different things at one time. So there's no off. Every day right now, we're still working. You have obviously the pandemic. You're in an election year. You have the civil unrest. The Confederate monuments coming down. I mean, just before I hopped on here, I was getting emails about another Confederate monument that was coming down this morning in secret. So, so it really doesn't stop right now. And I think the thing is, it's not just what we're reporting on at this point. You know, sometimes you have stories that have nothing to do with you. You're just reporting on them. You're just doing your job reporting on them. But so many of the issues that we're reporting on this year directly affect our lives. So we're trying to stay healthy while we're reporting on a global pandemic. You know, we're trying to report on protests while you're watching a man that looks just like your father, your uncle, your brother, your nephew, you know, beg for his life under a knee for almost 9 minutes. So these things affect you.
Yeah, bless all of you. I think, I feel like all of us can say we are earning every single dime of our paychecks right now. Like, I know right before quarantine, my husband and I, we were working on a big music festival, and then we were like so hopeful it was gonna happen, and then we were like, it got canceled. So you think about, like, in terms of business, like all these projects have gotten canceled, and we're in the field of production. And then I was going to like TV studios doing segments on Anita's station, and then like shut down. Nobody can do segments, nobody can come in. So now I'm filming from home, and it's just, everything looks so different. And so how have you had to really redefine and reshape your life over these last, 5-6 months?
Well, I'm doing a part of that right now. Obviously being on Zoom, I do a whole lot of Zoom. Whole lot of Zooming. I'm doing Zooms on the weekend, Zooms in the weekdays, Zooms in the morning, Zooms in the evenings, interviews by Zoom and events by Zoom. I've done my first galas by Zoom, all of those things. So this is where I sit on a regular basis right now.
I hear you.
Yeah. As far as me professionally, life has changed where you're entering the door with your mask on, your temperature is being taken, and it kind of feels a little invasive when somebody is like, let me check your temperature, do you have any symptoms, interrogating you when you're coming in to do your job. And then personally, it's like an isolation. So working in healthcare, you don't want to put yourself at risk to anybody else outside of your job. So it's like, I can't go hang out socially. Yes, I can do Zoom meetings, but that's pretty much the extent of what you can do. So it's like you're at home, isolated.
And I can piggyback off of that also. It's like redefining the way that you're living your life. Like you said, whenever I go into work, you wear a mask, you get your temperature checked, they ask you a certain series of questions. But even then, honestly, like, you can be asymptomatic. So it can be a number of people in the hospital that's walking around with it. You don't know that they have it. I mean, you touch something and may not wash your hands here or there. I mean, you could get it anywhere at this point. So it's very difficult. It is very stressful, and you try to remain joyful and happy and try to walk into work every day positive, but it can be a strain and very stressful, especially going home and even with your family, going home to your family and making sure that you're not bringing anything to them.
And Maya, with you being in college, I mean, I know when I was in college, I mean, we look forward to like hanging out and parties and of course getting our work done, but like summertime and internships, like what has that been like for you now?
This is the first time in my life as a student where I felt like I did not matter. I mean, we had to leave campus immediately and I lost my job. And they told me next semester, hey, you can't get your job back, you have to stay at home. And 2 months prior to us having to leave and me losing my job, I had just bought a car. So the first instinct was like, wow, I cannot pay my car payment. You know, I have it this month, but I don't think I have it next month. And the month after that, it was honestly just like a big like eye opener. That I didn't really have the next couple of months planned. You know, in my career, I just focused so much on others. I don't think I had a time to figure out if my life fell down, what was my next step. So as soon as we had to get off campus and I lost my job, I had to move back home, which was fine. I have no problem with my parents, but I am.
But you're in college.
Yeah, I am in college, Mom. So I had to keep working on my schoolwork because I completely lost motivation. Everything was out the door. I didn't want to go in my room and get on Zoom because it's like, I'm used to, you know, walking to class with my friends and going to eat afterwards. It was just completely different, and I had to keep myself motivated because if I didn't, I probably would have failed. But a lot of people I know, you know, are struggling because we're at home and this is not what we paid for. So now we're just trying to kind of adjust to, you know, being in school but at home.
I feel for you all who are in college right now. I mean, college, high school, everybody's missing like graduations and all these big moments. I mean, all of us been to college. We know what that experience is like. So I mean, to have that taken away, I bless you for sure. And all of us being Black women, you know, Anita mentioned the social injustice that's been going on. Do you feel like that you've had to become even stronger during this time? So you got the pandemic, you got the social injustice, we working from home. Like, do you feel like you've had to just add an extra, like, another, you know, something to your life at this time?
Me personally, I completely feel like I've had to add an extra, you know, oomph on to my back because I'm so used to being like, hey, are you guys hearing about this? I'm just now in my room and I'm just on social media, and I have to limit my time on social media because I don't have a chance to really engage with others. So since we've been home, my anxiety has been through the roof. I have to deal with fearing that I'm bringing something home. I have to deal with, you know, fearing that, you know, we all have it and we don't have any symptoms. And I have to deal with, you know, stuff going on social media and trying to, you know, regain a sense of being calm, but still being aware and being alert and educating others as to what's going on.
I think for me, it's like a double-edged sword because working in a field where everybody mostly doesn't look like you, you have to carry that baggage of all of this stressful things are going on in these challenging times for us with all these issues coming up. But you have to be silent at work, because at work it really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I'm Black and I have Black issues and I'm taking care of a white woman who may not care about the issues that are affecting me. I have to keep silent at work, but then when I go home, I have to deal with all of those issues and be able to vocally express these issues out in the world, but still be able to keep a professional demeanor when I'm at work. So it's a double-edged sword for me.
And I agree also, because like you said, you can't really talk about that too much at work in the healthcare field. And it's very disheartening when you come in after you see a video like George Floyd's, and then you just feel so heavy and hurt, and you just don't know how to feel. And then you walk in and everybody's just so happy, joyful, like nothing crazy has happened, right? So it's like my husband, my brother, my uncle, like we said before, any of them could have been that person. You know what I mean? So it's like nobody else cares. And it's like you have to train yourself to kind of be outside of yourself, to not feel those emotions at certain times. And then I do think that it's important. I try to go home and do like a mental health check. Like, am I okay? Honestly, let's sit in my emotions. If I need to cry, whatever I need to do, just do it. Because I know that I can't bring that into work. And half the time, the people at my job may not even care about that, or may not be able to even understand for themselves what's going on. So it can be very difficult.
Yeah, I think for Black journalists, there's always going to be an added layer of stress for tackling issues, especially those that deal with race when you're a Black journalist or a journalist of color in general. This year especially has been difficult for us, challenging, I'll say, for us. Because it's very emotional. And whereas most people consume news about 3 times a week, you might watch a newscast about three days a week. You know, I had to watch George Floyd die multiple times a day for multiple days on end. That's difficult on your psyche. I mean, it is difficult on your psyche. It's the conversations. One thing I'm very glad about is, how our station in particular has taken the time to do bias training, mandatory bias training for everyone in the station. Obviously, we were on Zoom, but still bringing in an outside entity to sit down with us and to talk to us and allow us to kind of have that moment and really get some things out there. So yeah, it's been difficult. You want to tell the story as impartially as possible, because that's what journalists do. But at the same time, you're angered. You're angered by what you see. So there's a lot of different things that kind of weave into the challenges for this year. And obviously, for the audience, you get more flack than a lot of other people. And that's that tough skin. Like, usually we always have to have tough skin as journalists. There's an added layer when you're talking about race issues and you look like the people who are protesting, or you look like the people, the person who was killed, or you look like, then there are people who automatically want to say you're biased, or, you only think Black Lives Matter, or things of that nature, when I care about any person that loses their life. But you're absolutely right that it is very difficult to watch something like that as well.
I think I'm almost a little speechless hearing y'all's story, saying like you can't express that like in that work environment. And I think it kind of says something to like the times that we're living in. Like, how can you not go into work working with people like that you see every day and not speak on that? And I think of I'm in a very fortunate situation. Everybody in my job pretty much looks like me. It's a couple of us. And I remember being after I think the George Floyd thing happened, I remember being on a Zoom call. It was 5 of us, and we were talking about something, and I just broke down crying, and I was like, I'm sorry. But like, no, it's like, let it out. And I just couldn't believe I started crying, because I was like, why am I even crying? But you keep hearing this stuff on the news, and you keep you know, you think about all these little black and brown children that are running around here. I think about my own child, and you're like, oh my gosh, this could have been like anybody that we all know. So having that burden like be laid out and just be able to let it out. So what are some things that y'all do to like let it out? I know you mentioned like, you know, mental health checks, but like what are some other things that y'all are doing to kind of not disassociate yourself, but pretty much cope with what's going on?
Well, I do, like she said, I try to just cut myself off from social media at times and any type of media for that aspect, because it's hard to see it, like Anita said, over and over and over. And then when you see certain people saying things like, well, maybe this or maybe that, and trying to discredit and trying to define why he got killed that way, or why any of us that look like us get killed the way that we get killed. So it's hard. So like I know I just try to like stop, just say, okay, I'm not doing social media anymore today. I definitely have like my walk and my relationship with God has gotten like stronger. And it's just hard. So I just try to do stuff like that. And then if you have to cry, then I do that too. Yeah.
I think for me, I've found taking time for myself and delving deeper into hobbies such as doing yoga or just some type of meditation or reading books, or even just listening to music, zoning out, and having small talks with friends about things that are going on, and being able to express how I'm feeling in the moment. That has helped a lot.
The first thing I have to do is just completely get off of social media. Like, it's so hard trying to just go on with your day and then let me check my phone. The first thing you just see it over and over and over again. Yeah. The second thing is, I'm the first person to cry in the shower. And there's nothing wrong with it.
The best cry in the shower.
Half the time I'm not even sad. I just want to get it out. So as I come out, I'm like, and then I'm fine. I just needed to get that emotion out, because me personally, I don't know what other way to get it out. I just cry and I go about my day. It's not always a sad cry. I'm not always, weeping, bending over, but it's just like I got that out, I feel better.
Yeah, for me, it's working out. If I'm in my home, I'm probably either watching some type of news or looking at it on my phone. I mean, it's very hard, especially when you have all of this going on, when you work in news, to walk away. It's very difficult. And I think especially in the first few months of the pandemic, going into the death of George Floyd, it was very difficult to walk away. I would find myself at 3-4 in the morning still watching protests overnight in Minneapolis in those first few days, when the police departments were going up in flames in the middle of the night, or when there was unrest in Louisville, Kentucky for Breonna Taylor's death. I was watching it overnight. So I was doing my job all day and then watching that all night. It will burn you out. And I think there's one great thing that my boss said that really stuck with me, and I had to to digest and really take heart to, and that's that this is a marathon right now. It's not a sprint.
A lot of y'all mentioned like the break for social media. So during when Corona and COVID first started, I kept seeing this quote like, y'all need to be wary of the friends who aren't checking on you during this time, and and I'm just like, wait, everybody's experiencing this thing at the same time. So how have your relationships or friendships maybe changed or shifted during this time? Because I know we're all going through the same stuff right now.
I know for me, I'm a very low maintenance friend. We don't have to talk every day. We don't have to talk every week. We could talk every other month. It doesn't matter. If I don't see you in a year, when I see you again, it's gonna be the same feelings, the same emotions, bada bing, bada bam, But some people are very much high maintenance friends where they expect to be checked on. But I look at it look, I'm walking into a hospital, the dirtiest place in America, without COVID-19. So, I mean, if you have that mindset, are you checking on me? You know what I mean? Where you might be at home, but I'm going into a hospital. So a lot of my friends, thank God, aren't like that.
I think I can piggyback off what Melissa said. and everybody just needs time to process. You can't give yourself to others if you haven't processed what's going on. The same thing for anybody else. They have to process what's going on. And it's really been like one blow after another. Like Anita said, it's like it's a marathon with different things hitting us at different times. So it's like we are still processing each thing that has happened. So once we get there, then you can reach out to someone else. But if you don't have it together for yourself, how can you give to someone else?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. I'm a very low maintenance friend, but that's not always the case in college. Half the time, they're not low maintenance friends. And I'm fine being at home. We could talk every couple of weeks, but the ones who want to talk every day and don't care that we have to stay in quarantine and want to see each other every day, it's like, oh, I don't want to be friends with you, don't want to hang out. So I am scared for my life.
For real.
I need my mask. Like I don't feel as if hanging out right now, or when it first happened and we were in phase, 1, was worth, risking my life just to hang out. And I lost a few friends that way, but it's hard because I was already an introvert when I got to college. I forced myself to live on campus to try to open up and make some friends. I did, I went back home, I lost them. So it was just kind of hard to maintain, those relationships. Luckily, I've had a boyfriend since I was in high school, and now we're, almost done with college. Luckily, we're both low maintenance, we're both, we see each other all the time because that's what, when we were in college, we were staying together mostly. So I knew where he was, he knows where I was, so we didn't have to worry about, are you bringing COVID in here? So.
Wow, I didn't look at it from that perspective. Like, yeah, your whole college life is like social.
Being social and hanging out, yeah.
Now, I don't have those friends that are upset. Listen, I think my friends and I think we all have an understanding, and that's before the pandemic. Like, we're all busy. We all have lives. So I don't get upset because, you're not checking in regularly, and I hope you don't get upset because I'm not. The goal of friendship is that, if stuff goes down and you need me, I am here. If you need me, I will drop what's going on to be there. But I just may not be there just so we can kiki on the phone regularly. That may not happen. This week I was on a Zoom for one of my girlfriend's child's birthday. And I was in between shows. So if I can be there, I can be there. If I can't, I can't. The people who I'm closest to, I definitely have had communication with during this time. So it's not like I'm finding out who I was close to during this time. The people that I would anticipate having some type of communication with, regardless of what's happening, I've had some type of communication with during this time.
Absolutely, I agree. I'd like to think I'm a low maintenance friend, and I don't think any of my friends have felt some type of way. But I'm not gonna lie, like, I've felt guilt by not reaching out to certain people. I'm busy, but I'm like, my whole life shifted. Not having a kid home now from daycare, trying to work from home and maintain that. Husband at home, we're trying to get our schedule together. And it's like, man, I sort of sometimes feel that guilt of not reaching out as much as I should. So I think that's something that I'm kind of working through. Because especially you see how COVID and stuff is hitting people, you're like, yo, then you just don't know. So I think, obviously everybody can get better with communication, but I think it's a matter of, do you feel some type of way that somebody hasn't reached out to you? You know what I'm saying? So last thing I want to say for you guys, or have you all express, is what's one thing that during this time you want to take with you that was different about you than before? It's what has changed about you that you want to continue on with? Because I feel like this has changed everybody in some sort of way.
I think for me, I'm more introspective about what I'm feeling and taking time out for myself. I think I've learned that the hard way with going through grad school while also working, while also doing an internship during this time.
You're killing it, by the way.
Thanks. That I needed to take some time for myself and to see how I was really feeling and what would make me happy and what would make my mind clear.
And I can agree with that. I know for my life, I just felt like every weekend I was doing something. Like I was always out of the house doing this, doing that. And before COVID-19 even started, I was like, all right, I gotta slow this thing down. Like I need a couple of weekends where I'm just relaxing. So again, like for me, it's just taking time out for yourself and not having to say or feeling like you have to say yes to everything. And being like, hey, I need a weekend or a couple of days to just rejuvenate and be able to sit in my own feelings or emotions and be like, okay, I don't have to always be somewhere.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna take slowing down, and actually thinking about what's going on and how I feel. I'm gonna take that with me because during this time I realized that my freshman year, the freshman, 15, I realized that I gained a freshman 25. And I'm like, I'm realizing this a year later. I said, why did I not realize that I gained 25 pounds my freshman year? I'm like, I should have, sat myself down and seen that, so it's just things like that, actually figuring out how I feel and what's going on in my life. I'm gonna take that with me.
Yeah, I think that's probably, the biggest thing for society in general is just slowing down. And I honestly think that every time I have felt overwhelmed in my life or felt silently like, oh my gosh, I just have a whole lot going on. How am I going to get all of this done? Like God will find a way to slow you down. So I think back to several times when that's happened, so I really just put this, even though this is unprecedented, I put this in that category too. When I was looking at my calendar before COVID, I was like, oh my goodness, I don't have a free weekend until June. And it was March, and then all of a sudden my calendar was clear. So, yeah, it happened real fast. Life comes at you fast. And so, I definitely think slowing down. The crazy thing is that with COVID, the first few weeks of it, you were like, oh yeah, I need to slow down. And then by the first few months going by, you're like, get me out of the house. You want stuff on your calendar. You want to get out and do stuff. So maybe balance would be the biggest thing, balance. But yeah, I think it's all a work in progress for sure. But slowing down, I think that'll go for everybody.
Yeah, for sure. And I think I've learned flexibility. You see how many events get canceled, or you've had to pivot now, doing stuff via Zoom. I think just really have to think outside the box and be creative now. So I really appreciate y'all for stepping outside the box and stepping outside the house during these times. And I want to leave y'all with a positive affirmation. So I've given all the ladies affirmation cards. We like to leave with a good word. So if you ladies could pick up your cards, and I have Anita's card, and then we'll read them off. So if you want to go first, Maya.
I am beautiful on the inside and out.
Lovely.
I nourish my mind with healthy thoughts about my body.
Ooh, yes.
I am living in the present and focused on what I can control.
All right, and Anita, yours says, I am safe in my skin.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you, ladies, so much for joining us for this episode. And thank you all for watching the season 2 premiere of Before Brunch TV. You can follow us all season at Before Brunch TV on social media. We'll see you next time. Yay! Thank you, guys.